Hello, everyone. Pat Mueller here. I have some interesting people to talk about today, or to talk with. I'm going to talk with Nick Leshley, who owns and operates Rochester Holistic Arts. He's been with me before. You might have remembered that. And somebody who he works with at his location, Brooklyn. And we're going to talk about some different types of massage and wellness and how massage can support wellness. So I'm going to talk to Nick first. Well, Nick, welcome back. It's so good to see you.
Hi, we're glad to be here.
Good. I'm so glad that you were able to come. We were talking the other day about how to support ongoing health and looking at, you were talking about something like lymphatic massage and cupping, and I'll tell you, I was a little lost with what that meant. So I thought, if I am, I bet other people are too. So tell me about that. What is lymphatic massage?
So Rochester Holistic Arts has been in downtown Rochester for 12 years now.
It's been 12 years?
Yeah,
oh,
which is
word.
great. And we've always focused on holistic health and modalities around massage, and we were talking about cupping and lymphatic
and I
massage.
Was like, well, what is that?
And so I thought the best person to bring on to talk about that would be Brooklyn, who is one of the therapists. She's been with us now for 2 years, and she brings these amazing modalities to the table and helps her clients with inflammation and pain, and a really great way for her to be able to access her clients is through these modalities. And so
well, that's how it came up. I was saying, as I've been aging, I struggle much more with inflammation and pain than I ever did when I was younger. And that's why we started talking about it. It all comes back to me. And you were talking about Brooklyn at your practice. And so tell me, what is cupping? What do you do? How do you do it? What is it like? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I would start off by just saying it's a full service. So it's a 1 hour and a half service, and it's used to bring wellness to the body, right? And I'm going to kind of let Brooklyn kind of dig into that a little bit more and how she does the service,
Yeah, with cupping, there's many different cups that we can actually use, and they all kind of do a little bit of different things. Glass cups, you use flame to get negative space to push up the muscles and whatnot.
Tell me about flame. What do you mean?
Well, you bring a flame into a cup, and then by it extinguishing itself and putting it on somebody, it automatically lifts the muscle. That is what ancient civilizations used to use, but now that we are in the modern society and whatnot, we use silicone cups that you just squeeze it and it lifts up the muscles and helps bring more blood and fluid helps move the fluid throughout the areas. There's also a pump one as well, so they all kind of do different pressures with the cupping.
And why do we want our muscles to do that? Why do we want them to move?
It helps relieve pain from muscles that are so tight and they're just really close together with the fascia. So the cup helps bring the muscle up, helps loosen the fascia, and helps new blood form in that specific area.
Oh, and then the blood flow supports the wellness.
Yes,
that's what heals it.
Yes.
Helps
regenerate it with the new
regenerate
blood.
Is the better word. Yeah, sure. So, and how do you do it everywhere? Do you do just one muscle at a time?
It can be done everywhere or one muscle at a time. It depends. Definitely not on bones. That is not a safe spot to put it on bones and whatnot. But yeah, just putting on different muscle bands and whatnot, and moving them around helps more with the fluid compared to staying still. Helps with more of the muscles.
So the glass cups when you put the flame into the glass cup, what happens is it takes all the oxygen out of the cup, and when you quickly put it onto the skin, that's what it's pulling for, to try to grab oxygen. So it pulls the oxygen out of the cup and then starts pulling it into the, pulling that oxygen from your skin into the glass, and what that does is, in doing so, it pulls the toxins up and out of the skin. So what happens sometimes with cupping is you might get some bruising, or you'll see the blood kind of coming to the surface and that aspect of it. So that's kind of traditionally how it was done, and a lot of times you'll place multiple cups. So say it's, say someone's dealing with thigh pain, you might have 4 cups on the thigh muscle, right? And so those will you'll do it at the insertion, and then the insertion, and you have the origin of the muscle, and then you have the body of the muscle. And so you might put it on, right? Is that, And so that would be the thigh, for example. We do it also on the back. You'll do it on the back, upper shoulders and neck.
Well, that must be very helpful for people who have spasms in their back.
Yes.
Yes, I know I've had many friends and family who have had that problem. How long do the cups stay on once you put them on?
No longer than 20 minutes. Because longer than that, you're going to be definitely colorful and whatnot. So we like to keep around 20 minutes, which is nice because then I can move on and let those sit sometimes and just work on other areas while they're working their magic.
When you talk about working other areas, I don't understand what you mean. So the cup stays on, and then what do you do while they're?
While those are placed on the muscle bands and whatnot, and I usually like to leave them, or sometimes I'll move them. But while they're on there, I'll do like traditional massage in other places, waiting for the cupping to be, done, or to the right amount of time that they do need on the different muscle bands.
Is there something? Is it just time that tells you when you're done, or is it?
I can usually tell by the skin that kind of puffs up a little bit. You can sometimes tell if it is starting to get like colorized and whatnot. Sometimes it's red, sometimes it starts bruising up right away or something. So I can gauge by looking at it how much time it needs or whatnot.
Well, and that's where your experience comes in. This is why you go to a place like Rochester Holistic Arts, because they have the people who know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I would like to talk a little bit more too, because we were talking a little bit about the glass cups, but there's also the silicone cups, right?
Yeah.
And what's cool about the silicone cups is, instead of them staying in place, we actually use them, and they will pull the fascia and massage the skin with the cups. And so I actually really like that in my massage treatment. I find that that's a lot more relaxing, and it's, I think it's easier on the skin. It's a little less invasive comparatively to kind of like what you were talking about with the ancient civilizations who were doing cupping. This is kind of more of a modern twist on it that actually really helps you to enjoy the service a little bit more.
It is a little bit more relaxing, and you don't really get bruisings when you do gently pull it and move the cup around the skin. I haven't seen too many people that do get like discoloration. It might be red, but usually when you keep it moving, there isn't no
almost anything you do on your skin can redden.
Right.
So that makes sense.
So we were going to talk about lymphatic massage and how lymphatic works with cupping as well. Yeah. And so what is lymphatic?
Is lymphatic part of the circulation? You were talking about the blood flow and the fluids and so on? Or?
It's not part of, it's a whole different system that we have in our body.
I didn't realize.
Different.
Okay.
So it helps absorb any nasty toxins that we have in our body, the lymph system, and that is where a lot of our white blood cells like to kind of hang out and kind of get ready to attack different things. So lymphatic massage helps get the fluid that's been stagnant and whatnot, because our lymphatic doesn't have a pump. So that's why it's hanging on to our circulatory system, because sometimes with it being pushed around and whatnot.
When I think of the lymph system, I think of like lymph nodes when you're sick or that kind of thing. So tell me how lymphatic massage supports that kind of health.
So it helps kind of push all the toxins where it needs to go to help your body eliminate it a little bit faster and easier than it just sitting there, and your body has to manually go there and kind of work its magic there. So lymphatic helps get all that excess fluid to the different spots.
So we call it the yellow blood,
Yeah.
and it follows the same system as the circulatory system. And they kind of have these, like, it's a pumping system. So instead of like with our circulatory system, it's our heart that pumps,
Right.
you know, the blood through our
sure.
system. The lymphatic system actually has like these, they're like a, what do I want to call them? Like almost gates that kind of open and close. And what happens when too much pressure is applied to the lymphatic system, it actually shuts down. And so what we tend to do is use a lighter pressure and kind of use some skin brushing. Brooklyn has also started using ice or cold therapy, which also
Sure.
helps to stimulate the lymphatic system. And so a lot of what the lymph is like when you have the knots in your body and that the tight fascia, the connective tissues, it's stagnant. And so we use the cupping, the lymphatic system to kind of help eliminate the pain and
Sure.
pressure that builds up in our muscle tissues.
How does the lymph system reduce the pain? Like moving it around. So I have a terrible pain in my arm. I worked it too hard or something's wrong. There's just like, my muscles are stiff. So the lymph system, if I get it moving, it takes some of that pain away.
Yeah, it will help a lot of like your fluid be moving, and sometimes you do need that to help with the inflammation and whatnot. And it is very relaxing because we can only use like 0.5 pressure to do lymphatic, or else we're not hitting the lymph system, we're hitting muscle. So by doing very gentle, it's relaxing on the mind, body, and everything else.
Oh, well, that makes total sense.
We are so excited about the lymphatic massage and the cupping that we do here at
Have your
Rochester
clients
Holistic
found
Arts.
it to be beneficial?
Yes, I have seen a lot of improvement in people, and they're even saying like, "Oh my gosh, if I haven't, gotten this done, like
wish I would've
everything
done this
would've been so
sooner."
different." Yes.
I think we can all relate to that. Just, I wish I would have done this sooner. We say that with lots of wellness activities. Okay, well, thanks so much. We'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone. We've been talking about lymph massage and using cupping during massage, but there's many other types of massages. And Nick, I wanted to ask you about that. What are your clients seeing? What's your most requested type of massage?
So people are coming in looking for relaxation and they're looking for pain relief. And so I've done a lot of my practice over the years doing cranial sacral massage and Thai massage. And so those are, great ways to help with mobility and helping, again, with the lymphatic massage and keeping that blood flowing and helping reduce pain. And there's other things that, like with cranial sacral, for instance, it really is great for like migraines and headaches or closed head injuries, whiplash. It really helps.
Well, that's important. Yeah, I'm a migraine sufferer, and anyone who has migraines can attest. You'll do anything.
Yeah.
And but it helps for more than just the time that you have the headache.
So it's
Is that what you mean?
it's really cool. So like lymphatic massage, craniosacral is 5 grams of pressure. So it's about the weight of a nickel, and so we'll use certain pressure points on the face, on the skull. We'll work with the temporal bone and the sphenoid and the maxilla and mandible. You know, the jaw bones, and then we also will go down the spine, the spinal cord, and with the tailbone.
Right.
But it is a full body experience. So there's times where I'll be down at the feet, or doing some joint mobility as well. And during that treatment, what people might experience, I think you were kind of getting to, would be, just a really light experience, like something where they kind of feel like they're floating. They might get some like tingling, or what else do I want to call it? Like numbness. It almost feels like numbness.
Right.
Sometimes it's like a pulsating feeling. We call that a still point in craniosacral. And so basically what happens is the bones in the skull all have what we call it's kind of like a cradle rock almost, and they just kind of come in and they come out. Okay, and this fluid wraps around your head, comes down your tailbone, and then back up. And it takes about a minute for that fluid to actually, do its full process.
Sure. And so you support the movement of that fluid.
Right.
And that supports like inflammation and all these, or the wellness of those things.
So a lot of times what it does is we actually have something called a still point. And so with a still point, you actually just kind of hold those bones into place. And what that does is it allows the lymphatic fluid and the cerebral spinal fluid mostly to just sit there. And sometimes things just need to sit in order for your body to just kind of say, I need a reset right now.
I was just going to use a reset. It's like a reset button.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so we'll hold it into a still point for a minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, sometimes even. And then all of a sudden, this movement starts to come back into the bones. And it's like, okay, I feel good now. And in that still point, sometimes is when people feel like they're feeling like they're being elevated, or they're like laying on a water bed, or
during the whole reboot process.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's fascinating. Does it work on? So if it's craniosacral, it's your head and your spine, right?
Yep.
So what do you do on the spine?
So, like we said, it's all 5 grams of pressure, and we're going to show you a little bit. We're going to bring our massage table out, and we'll be able to see like just a small segment of what a craniosacral, and we're also going to do Thai massage, which we were talking about joint mobility, and that aspect of it. And I really like the energy that Thai massage can bring, and really help bring vitality to one's life, and
well, now
through
I have
movement.
To know what the difference is between Thai and cranial surgery.
Sacral.
Cranial sacral and Thai. What's the difference?
So I love, with cranial sacral, we're really a lot dealing with the skull down to the tailbone, right? And doing small adjustments. They're not chiropractic adjustments, but they're light spinal adjustments, as well as really light adjustments to the bones in the skull. With Thai massage, we're going to do a lot more movement, a lot more mobility, and we're going to be pressing on energy lines and really opening up the chi in the body,
I don't know what that means, but it sounds like it's important. So tell me about chi. What does that mean?
So chi is energy. It's maybe we've heard of like qigong or Tai Chi, and it's really a lot about like creating this like electrical pulses in our body that we all have, and sometimes we don't really realize it's there. So I don't know, do you have a little something you might be able to add about energy in the body?
Well, when I work with chi energy, it's more Reiki than actual like Thai massage or whatnot, but they're definitely all kind of in the Asian culture. Which,
Oh, okay. So, and that when you're talking about the different modalities, this is what you mean. The different types of massage, the different, whether it's sacral, cranial sacral, whether it's Thai massage, whether it's lymph massage or Reiki, did you say? So there's these different modalities that are used. How do you decide which modality to use?
It really just depends on the client and what they're looking to get out of their treatment and what kind of pain they have and whatnot.
Oh,
That's when we gauge like what they need.
Do you do that when they call to make an appointment, or do you do that when you meet them?
So that's what's really unique about our service, is that we really try to make sure that we are incorporating the client's needs as they come in. And so we spend, a good minute to 2 minutes of just really talking about, what are you here for today? Why, where are your areas of discomfort? And then we design a treatment that is specific to our client's needs.
Well, that would be very helpful. I'm sure your clients really appreciate that. I'm so excited. When we return, Nick is going to demonstrate some of these massage techniques with Brooklyn. Welcome back, everyone. I'm here with Nick Leshley of Rochester Holistic Arts and his cohort here, Brooklyn, and he's going to demonstrate some of the methods and modalities that we had talked about earlier today in the show. So I'm going to get out of the way and let you get to your demonstration.
Awesome. So this is a massage table. And this is, we're going to show you Thai massage, a little bit of Thai massage, and we're going to show you a little bit of cranial sacral here today. You can see Brooklyn's here in very comfortable clothes. She's on top of the massage table. This is how both of the Thai massage and the cranial sacral is done. So you can come in comfortable clothes, please do. Now would be the time that we would talk about what are your symptoms and what are you dealing with? Is there something, areas of pain in your body? And so we're going to start first with cranial sacral, and I'm just going to kind of show you, this is the skull down here at the end and the occipital ridge, and you can kind of see my fingers, right down through the bottom of the neck, and this is what we would do as a cranial pull. So we're creating traction here at the base of the neck. And then the other part of this treatment is the sacrum. So then I would stick my hand right down onto the tailbone, and we would also create a little traction between the tailbone and the skull. And what I'm feeling for is like the tailbone kind of rocking back and forth like so, and the occipital bone also rocking back and forth. And what happens is sometimes when they're out of dysfunction, they'll actually go like opposite of each other. So we want them to go together, right? And sometimes what will happen is you'll have them going opposite of each other. And so what I look for through, just like we said, 5 grams of pressure, is just kind of giving it a little nudge. So say the tailbone is, it might even be stuck, or it could even be wobbly or so. And so what I do is I stick my hand there, hold it, allow the pressure to just, for me to feel how it's moving. And then I do the same thing at the occipital, and we just look for balance. And a lot of what I do is actually just creating intention and saying, you know what, Mr. Tailbone, you're wobbly. And so we'll just set an intention and say, flatten out, straighten up, get with the program, and we just, and we do that. And so that's one of the treatment, one of the 10-step protocol is actually, part of what we would look for in the craniosacral system. So we also have the temporal bone here. Again, this is just a really light lifting of the temporal bone. And then you have this is the frontal bone, these are your temporal bones. So we'll also, again, the same thing, we'll pull the temporal bones up, right, Here you have a couple of really small nasal bones, and these ones also we pull up, right? This can be really great in helping with the sinuses and with the headaches with TMJ. The TMJ joint, we're gonna pull these ones down. And this all helps with opening up the lymphatic system and keeping that yellow blood, like we talked about earlier, moving and flowing so that it doesn't congest. This can help with sinus pressure, it can help with headaches, it can help with trauma. We also will do an ear pull, which is awesome for those that are dealing with chronic sinus infections or with hearing, that aspect of it, which is also really beneficial for those with hearing aids. So then next, this is a full body treatment, so I would say a lot of the service would be done at the cranial bones, down along the spine, and like I said, it can even get into the legs. And so as we start to move down further into the legs, we call that emotional release. And so sometimes what we'll do is we'll have our clients talk about their experiences of maybe how they were in an accident, and it's really interesting because what'll happen is, I'm just going to pick up this leg here, but sometimes when a client comes in and they've been in a car accident and they've been experiencing pain, and sometimes they might even have that experience where they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that this was the position I was in when I was in my car accident. And so sometimes we just kind of get into these parts of our body that we just don't even realize are causing dysfunction, causing pain, causing stiffness, those types of things. So we can just kind of, again, just allow that cerebral spinal fluid and the lymphatic fluid and the myofascial fluid, and we just kind of follow it. If you can see, the leg is just moving all slightly. And so this is a lot of the craniosacral. It would be just a very light touch like what I'm doing here today, something really flowing and relaxing. So I'd like to get into Thai massage a little bit more today too, and be able to talk about, this is really great for athletes, but honestly, even just for those, the aging population, as we learn to age gracefully, and and keeping that fluid moving in our joints. And so Thai massage is another great way to do this. Now, obviously, I would be doing both sides of the body, but for today, we're going to do, just the one side. So a lot of rocking is a part of that. What I'm working on are these energy lines that we were talking about. These are meridians, and so we'll work on just kind of opening up those meridians and getting them, getting that chi starting to move and flow. And so part of this is just movement, pressing on those lines. There's 10 lines in total. There's 4 that go down either side of the body. You have 4 that go down this side, you have 4 that go down this side, and then you have 2 that go down into the center of the body. And so part of it will be working in the abdominal region. There's so much of our internal organs here that hold a lot of emotion and a lot of tension and a lot of the list goes on and on and on. And I'm so excited that we were able to kind of give you just a general idea of how calming and comfortable it is for a client to come in. You can do it at any age, infant all the way up to aging gracefully. And I really do appreciate you watching our segment today, and I certainly look forward to being back and talking more about the services that we offer at Rochester Holistic Arts.